Good evening, Namaskar. Welcome to BSHF webinar series 2 Talk at Tea. I would like to invite organizer Dr. Brahma Singh, Padma Awardee, Chairman BSHF New Delhi. Sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Shiv. Dear friends, hearty welcome to this series number 2 of Professor Brahm Singh Horticulture Foundation. This series is known as Futuristic Farming of Flowers and Foliage. It is by and large on every Wednesday at 6 pm. Friends, BSHF considers floriculture as a very fascinating and important part of horticulture sector from economic, social and environment point of view. At BSHF, we are trying to contribute in promotion of floriculture sector with the help of learned speakers from each corner of the country or every corner of the country, and you all by having webinars on different commercial flower crops. Today, 10th March 2021, BSHF has planned talk number 18 on cultivation of new age flowers and uses. These new age flowers, according to us, are Lisianthus, Limonium, and Gypsophila. There are others also, but we would like to cover these three today. And this Lisianthus are Astoma. These are beautiful high-end cut flowers, but they are tricky to grow and require some maintenance. Limonium is known as sea lavender or most popularly Estatis. Then Gypsophila, I think Gypsophila is bit known and belongs to the carnation family. The more about these new age flowers you would know from the speaker today, Dr. M. Ganga, who is Associate Professor Horticulture at Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore. She would be introduced by my colleague, Dr. K.V. Prasad, Director of Indian Council of Agriculture Research, Directorate of Floriculture Research, Pune. He would also be moderating the talk. Dr. Prasad has developed several varieties of ornamental plants, mainly chrysanthemum, anthurium, and others. He is recipient of several awards. Some of them, one of them, this prestigious award like Dr. B.P. Paul Gold Medal for the year 2009 from ICAR. He is also recipient of Gold Medal in Floriculture from the then Horticulture Society of India, now Indian Academy of Horticulture Sciences. He got this award in 2012 and he got at different times 5 Best Research Paper Awards. He is a member of editorial board of important publication on floriculture and he is a fellow of Indian Academy of Horticulture Sciences, Indian Society of Ornamental Horticulture, and Confederation of Horticultural Association of India for his outstanding contribution in the field of ornamental horticulture. He is involved in the development of protocol for the induction of in vitro nutraceutical anthocyanin pigments from different flowers like rose, chrysanthemum, and carotenoid pigments from others like calendula. And he is a guide to a number of MSc and PhD students. Dr. K.V. Prasad, please. Dr. Prasad is not audible.
My mic is on, sir.
Now on.
Now you're audible, sir.
Audible? Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. Good evening to each one of you. I also add my own words of welcome to each one of you on this important talk today. This particular series initiated by Padma Shri Dr. Brahma Singh sir is very unique. Futuristic farming of flowers and foliages is an initiative to encourage, motivate, and induce many youngsters to take up floriculture as a passion, as a profession. So I'm sure the webinar series that we are conducting would be of great use for all these students, young entrepreneurs, and youth who have joined this program through various social media platforms. Today, I have great pleasure in introducing my young colleague, Dr. M. Ganga, who is an associate professor from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University. Dr. Ganga made enormous contributions in the science of jasmines. She is the breeder and also developing a lot of production technologies and export related technologies for the value chain management of jasmines. She is the architect of developing the first variety of Jasminium nitidum, star jasmine O1. And she has also established an elaborate germplasm unit of jasmines at TNAU. She is instrumental in establishing the DUSH protocols for jasmine. And she is also involved in developing the packaging standards and value chain in case of jasmine. Friends, you all must be aware that TNAU under NATP project, they have developed an excellent value chain management protocol for sending the jasmine flowers to overseas markets, the near markets as well as the distant markets in an impeccable manner. This particular technology has helped a number of farmers to export jasmines which cannot be thought of in the years prior to that. She is also instrumental in developing a number of production technologies in case of jasmine. To list a few, packaging technology, as I mentioned, and she is also, through floriculture, she also contributed in the women empowerment by conducting the capacity building programs at TNAU. Right now, she is working on interspecific hybridization of jasmines, which is again a very rare area of work for many of our colleagues. Jasmine is nowadays is not a crop which is being pursued. Though we hear about the Co1 and Co2 jasmine varieties, which are evolved in early 70s and 80s, and after that there is not much of research on this particular crop. She is also instrumental in working on these three crops that we are going to listen from her while she was working at UT. And she handled a number of important projects. The one that I have mentioned already, that is the development of DUS test guidelines with PPVFRA, ICAR extramural funds funding that happened about 4 or 5 years back on interspecific hybridization and grafting in case of jasmine. Then she also handled a number of state government funded projects, ICR NEIP project, which I have already highlighted, where the value chain protocols for jasmine, including their packaging, was established. She was also involved in a foreign funded project in a network mode with GKVK Bangalore on diatomaceous earth as a silicon source for different crops of India. And she also worked on some of the NHM sponsored projects for strengthening the tissue culture lab located in their campus. She has guided a number of students, to be specific, 14 postgraduate students, 8 MSc, 5 Ph.D, 1 PDF as well, as the chairperson or in the advisory committee. And she has served in the editorial board of a number of important journals, and she has excellent publications in terms of international and national journals, and also a number of articles, popular articles and scientific articles in a number of reputed journals and publications. And she is the recipient of ICAR National Award, that is Jawaharlal Nehru Award for the outstanding PhD research work while she was the student in 2002. So, Dr. Ganga, I welcome you to this webinar series. And today's topic of new age cultivation of new age crops, cultivation of new age crops, which are going to be like Lisianthus, Limonium, and Gypsophila. These crops are now being cultivated in selected pockets across India for their immense commercial value. I'm glad that you have worked for some time while you are in Uti, because that is one of the best places for growing these crops. And there is a lot of interest in these crops across the country. So we thought this is the right platform to bring the knowledge about these three emerging flowers to the knowledge of the participants. So I welcome each one of you again to this talk today. And Dr. Ganga, the floor is yours. You're going to present the topic for about 45 to 50 minutes, followed by a brief discussion based on the number of questions that we get.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Ganga, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening to everybody who's joined for this webinar today. My respects and salutations to all my senior professors and scientists and my mentors. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity given to me. And I'm very happy to share my experience on these three flower crops with the audience. Thank you, sir. Shall I start now, sir?
Please.
Yes. So, as already indicated by Sir Brahma Singh sir and K.V. Prasad sir, the topic given to me is cultivation of new age flowers and their uses. The three crops are Lisianthus, Limonium, and Gypsophila. So, I just would like to start with a few words about these wonderful flowers, which always help us keep us happy and joyful. Flowers are indispensable in human life. They bounce back to life even after a crisis like Corona. Yes, Corona had put down all the flowers to the garbage dumping yards, but now they are bouncing back to life, and we have to follow them. We have to bounce back to life uh, despite all that is happening around us. So I think floriculture, we know it is a very fast growing and huge opportunity sector in our country, and many of the facts which are disadvantageous to agriculture are merits for floriculture. We know that. For example, let us take the Indian farming situation. Majority of the farmers have small land holdings, but this small land holding pattern is a huge advantage to floriculture growers, because floriculture can be taken up in a very small area profitably, because it involves the low volume, high value concept, and any kind of land can be used for floriculture, be it a hilly tract, be it a problem soil. Any kind of soil can be put to use in floriculture, because we can amend the soil. We can use many systems like grow bags and all the other systems of culture. And a very small area can help us get a lot of remuneration. So this all the disadvantages farming in the Indian conditions can be great advantages to the floriculture sector. And it is very heartening to know that floriculture sector's growth rate is 24% in the national level. And there are very immense potentials, and we have a long way to go, because India is bestowed with innumerable advantages, including its natural resources, the rich floral diversity, the diverse
Sir, we lost connection. We are going to cut out.
Okay.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. Please resume the presentation.
Okay, okay. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm really sorry for what happened. There was some problem on the network, sir. So, am I audible, sir? I can continue now?
Yeah, please.
Yes, yes. So we have immense potentials in the floriculture sector for India, and floriculture has immense potentials to generate employment for the women as well as the youth, the rural population, the women folk. So all the stages in floriculture are women friendly, starting from plant material production, that is the propagation, up to value addition, as we see here. This is value addition. How housewives are engaged in these value addition activities, and these products are exported. So this is a huge potential for women empowerment in our country. And this is just one area where we have worked extensively. That is value addition in jasmine for both the domestic and export markets. So I just wanted to tell you here that not only jasmines, but any flower crop can offer these kinds of potentials for value addition, export promotion, women empowerment, and all that. We have a lot of potentials. And we know floral jewelry is a very huge success story in India. And any kind of flower crops can be used for floral jewelry. It is gaining a lot of importance. And again, this is an area which gives a lot of employment to the women folk, not only women folk, anybody who has an artistic skill. And not only that, the wide diversity, plant diversity, the floral diversity wealth of India offers immense potentials to promote the floriculture sector, because we know newer and newer species of ornamentals and flower crops are being introduced into the market every day. And many of them are indigenous to our own country, and we must know that many of these crops, which are ruling the international floriculture trade now, have been introduced from our own country to the European and American nations. So I've just listed out a few of them here. As you see here, some of the crops like campanula, anemone, all of them which are now ruling the international floriculture trade with respect to plant seed production, potted plant production, interior decoration, and all that. All of them have gone, many of them have gone from our country, and they are ruling the trade now. And there are some other indigenous crops also. One of them belongs to the Gentianaceae family, which again Lisianthus belongs to. So that is why I wanted to put Gentiana lutea, which is another indigenous crop of India, which has immense potentials to become an ornamental and a flower crop. Also has its roots in our own country. And there are many other crops, and it's very interesting to see here that many of them have some rare traits, like, for example, the blue color, a very unique flower form, long vase life, fragrance in the flowers. All these are unique characters which we observe in many of the indigenous flower crops, and all these still remain unutilized or underutilized, like the Rosa brunoni species, which is native to India, and many of the delphinium species which are native to our own country. And see, Gentiana cachemirica is another important plant which is indigenous to our own country. So I just tulipa, one species of tulipa called Tulipa stellata is native to India. And see what all I showed you till now. Many of them have the rare blue color in them, which is a sought after trait in flower crops. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Sir,
ma'am, you
am
can
I
carry
audible?
on. Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, ma'am,
yes.
you can carry
Okay,
on.
okay, okay, okay. Yes. So we have huge potentials. I just wanted to show you some of these crops which are waiting for us to lay hands on them and make use of them to promote the national sector, floriculture sector. So all these, yes. And now coming to the three crops which we are going to look into today. We can put them under the category of unique flowers. So we all know there is one category of flowers in the floriculture trade. We call them as the specialty flowers. So we call them, so we have the alpinias, bromeliads, heliconias, bird of paradise. We also have another list which includes Lisianthus, Limonium, or which is more popularly known as the status, Gypsophila, stock, and there are many more. We know that this is a short list. I've just picked a few from that long list. So all of them have some unique trait, some unique character, which makes them a special flower, like either the flower form or its cultural requirements. Like many of these flower crops, which we put under the specialty flowers category, they are very, very easy to cultivate and maintain, unlike the sophisticated exotic cut flowers. Like we see the alpinias here, the bromeliads here, heliconias, bird of paradise, and of course stalks, gypsophilas. All of these are cut flowers which can very well grown in the open field condition. They do not require, even if they require protected structures in some places where the climate is a little harsher compared to the temperate zones of our country. They don't need very much sophisticated protected structures. They just need a very basic shade net house or a rain shelter house or a poly house inside which we can grow them very easily and produce world-class cut flowers stems. So this is one uniqueness. Most of them can be grown in the open field. Maybe one or two crops. For example, Lisianthus is one crop which needs a protected structure because it's a very, very fragile flower crop, whereas all the others can be grown under open field conditions in zones, climatic zones like the subtropics and temperate zones of our country. We have many such zones spread across the country. So the advantage here is that the leaders, the Kutfla leaders of the world, the Holland, I mean the Netherlands and the European countries, they have the disadvantage of not being able to produce flowers throughout the year. Whereas India has the advantage of being able to grow flowers throughout the year because we are bestowed with diverse agroclimatic conditions. We don't have harsh climatic conditions as they have in the Western countries. The winters are not very severe here. So half of the year in Netherlands and European countries, they are not able to produce flowers because the winters are very harsh. Whereas in our country, we can produce different diverse categories of flower crops, foliages, filler crops. We can grow them in any part of the country and they can be produced round the year. This is one big advantage which India has, and we have to cash in on this to come up in the world market. So today's crops, three crops are Lisianthus, Limonium and Gypsophila. Many of the people here in today's audience would have heard of these crops. Many of them would have come across these crops. And there might be a few people who would not have heard of these also. So the uniqueness with these three crops is that though they do not occupy very large areas in the world in commercial cultivation, they have been they have been holding a very, very important position in the world trade. So that is because of their uniqueness. They have wide, there are certain characteristics which are very unique to these crops. Presence of blue shades. Blue color is a very rare color in flowers. There are few flower crops which have this blue shade. We know that. And this blue color in the flower is due to a pigment, a coloring pigment called delphinidin, which is present in very few selected flowering plant families. So this unique blue shade of flower is present in these three flower crops, Lisianthus, Limonium, and Gypsophila. And we know the nature of human beings is to always look for what is not there. So though we have roses, a rose is a rose is a rose. We have roses in so many hundreds of shades. We have anthuriums, we have orchids, we have all the flowers, a wide array of cut flower crops, but then we always look for what is not there. So we keep searching for a color which is not there in these flowers. That is how the biotechnology tool was used, and the blue rose, the blue carnation was developed. So these three flowers are very, very unique because they naturally have this blue shade in them due to the presence of the blue pigment. So this is one unique character with these flowers. Maybe that is why they are, though they are not occupying very large areas in the world, they are still uh, important in the world trade. And besides this blue shade, they have, all these three crops have a wide array of colors. So starting from the white to blue. So they have yellow, pink, and all the different shades between these two colors. So that is another added advantage. They give a variety of color choice to the person who looks for a mix of colors in their arrangements, in their floral decorations. So that is another added advantage with these three crops. And then these can be categorized as fancy flowers because they are very, very different from the other flowers with respect to the flower form, the cultural requirements. So they are fancy flowers which are very much sought after in the world market. And they have a consistent market demand, both the domestic and the global markets. There is always a market demand for these three flowers. Now, coming to the first crop, let us discuss these three crops. So, I had the opportunity to work in Horticultural Research Station of TNAU at Ooty. In fact, Ooty is my native place. So, I had the opportunity to work there for 2 years recently. So, during which time we had taken up some research projects. We had worked on Lisianthus. One of our students was given a project on Lisianthus, and one of our MSc students, even before that, the student had evaluated all the varieties of Lisianthus, and we could standardize certain agro techniques required for Lisianthus. So I would like to just share all the experiences here. Lisianthus, I just want to give a short introduction here because it is a new crop. Though it's been there in the market, it's been there in the sector for quite a few years. There are many people who still do not know about Lisianthus because it's not established very well commercially. So botanically, Lisianthus is called Eustoma grandiflorum, and it belongs to the family Gentianaceae, as we see here. So this Gentianaceae family is a large family with many species, with many species of plants which belong to different categories like trees, shrubs, herbs. And another advantage with this particular family is that the plants in this family, the species in this family, have a wide range of floral colors as well as floral patterns. So that is an added advantage which is very much sought after trait in the floriculture trade. And then many of the species in this family have now been put under the Biodiversity Act because many of them are becoming extinct and rare, many of the species. So some species, genera like Ixacum, Gentian, all these are becoming extinct and rare. And as I told you, showed you in the earlier slides, many of these species are also native to our own country. They are indigenous species. So it is very, very important that we take care in conserving these species because they are very, very potential genetic resources. So the origin of this particular Lisianthus is Central America and Texas. And the growth habit of this plant is it's a herbaceous annual. It's a herbaceous annual. It has a crop duration of about 5 to 6 months. And it is a low growing plant. It grows up to one. There are different types in this. There are dwarf types also which are suitable for pot culture, and there are types which reach a height of 2 feet. And another important characteristic feature of this Lisianthus is it has very unique leaves, waxy blue-green leaves. Unlike the dark green foliage we have in most of the other crops, here the leaves are waxy blue-green, which itself is an added advantage and artistic, giving a plant a very picturesque look. So in India, subtropical and temperate zones are there are, as Dr. Prasad told earlier, there are a few pockets in India which cultivate Lisianthus commercially on a small scale now, but it is gaining a lot of importance in recent days. So the subtropical and temperate zones, because it is a crop which requires the subtropical and temperate conditions, and it is more common among the subtropical and temperate zones. Lisianthus prefers the temperate zones, but not with harsh winters. So in India, Tamil Nadu, Pune, and Bangalore are the regions where commercial cultivation of Lisianthus is now being taken up in pockets, selected pockets. There are also other ornamental in this Gentianaceae family besides Lisianthus. We have this yellow gentian, which is also gaining importance in recent days as a cut flower, and also another crop called Centauri. The Centaureum erythraeae is another important flower crops, which is also gaining importance. So we know newer and newer species which are found in the wild state are being domesticated and introduced as newer crops, because always the florists look for newer forms and colors of flowers. So there is always a demand for newer species. So these two are two more potential species in this gentian family, which are closely associated with Lisianthus. Now, coming to the importance of Lisianthus, in recent years, there has been a dramatic increase in commercial cultivation, especially in those selected pockets which we saw earlier, Tamil Nadu, Pune, and Bangalore. And the reason for this flower gaining popularity is its unique features. Like it has a very close resemblance to rose flowers. So it is very closely related to rose because of the form of the flower looks like rose, as you see in these photographs here. And apart from that the resemblance to rose, it has a wide diversity with respect to flower form, flower color, and even the pattern on the flower. So it makes a very, very interesting specimen for floral decorations. Apart from this, another advantage of Lisianthus is its long waste life. It keeps longer than 2 weeks, fresh longer than 2 weeks. That is another advantage. So now talking about what is the diversity we have in Lisianthus. Now coming to the flower form, we have single types, double types, flowers with smooth edges, flowers with ruffled edges. We know texture, color, all these are very important traits or principles in floral decoration. So this particular flower has the potential to offer or fulfill all the requirements for making very attractive flower arrangements. So coming to the color, it has a wide array of color in its flowers: blue, lilac, pink, pale green, also white. So many colors, shades are there, as you see here. And the pattern I told you, there are flowers like in carnation, we have the bizarre types and all that. We have the darker coloration on the edges and in the center. That also fetches a good price in the market, because all these patterns and shades of color, which are very unique to Lisianthus, give this flower a lot of uniqueness and importance in the floriculture trade. So this is the diversity of Lisianthus with respect to the flower form or shape. There are many types. I've chosen just the 4 common types which are commercially cultivated. The flower, a category of Lisianthus type looks like the rose flower, so it is called the rose type, as you see here. Some of the Lisianthus flowers also resemble camellia type. Some of them resemble the poppy flower, and some of them look exactly like the carnation flower. So this is the kind of diversity we have in Lisianthus with respect to the flower form, so which creates a lot of interest among the florists. And coming to the flower type, we have single and double types. So we have the single flower here, as you see here, and the double flower types with more number of petals arranged in more than a single bulb, and which gives it a look like almost a rose, as we see here. And then we also have the standard and spray types. So these are some of the diversity we see in Lisianthus. There are many more, but I've taken only the most important traits which are of importance in the floriculture trade. And this is the wide array of colors. We also have chocolate brown, maroon shades, and double colors. As we see here, the blue color, the true blue color is present. We also have lilac shades, pink shades, lavender shades, pure white is also there. These are the wide array of colors we can see in Lisianthus. And the varietal wealth of Lisianthus is very, very huge and very, very rich. As you see here, we have series of varieties which have been named according to the flower form, according to the color, color of the flower, the patterns. So these are some of the very popular varieties: the Echo Champagne, Sapphire series, Balboa Rose, Roseanne Green. So this is a brown maroon shade which is known as Roseanne Deep Brown. There is also another series called the Mariachi series, in which we have green, white, even blue, which are very, very popular. So this is the Echo series. Again, just have a look at the kind of diversity we have in each category of varieties. So this is the Mariachi series. The Mariachi blue is very, very popular among the flower growers, and we had taken up a study at Ooty with this particular variety, and we had also taken up a research on evaluating all these types and recommending to the farmers which is more suitable for the conditions existing there in the Nilgiri Hills, and also those varieties which have good market demand. This is Mirage series again, which has a pure white type, and then like carnations, we have the ruffled edges which have a very different color. The base of the flower is white, blue rim, rose rim. These are all popular with the flower growers and the florists. We also have many single types which are popular as cut flowers: blue, blue rim supreme. Just look at the colors we have here. We also have a lime green type here. And most popular varieties which are now ruling the market, many are there. Among these, we have Echo Champagne, which is a spray type. And then we have the Sapphire Blue Chip, Sapphire Pink Rim. So the list is long. So I've just listed out the most popular varieties which are widely grown by the growers and used by the florists. And now coming to the growth habit of Lisianthus. As I told you, it is a herbaceous annual flower, 5 to 6 months crop duration. So these are the different stages of the crop growth which we observed during the research trials. So the climatic requirements for Lisianthus, as we discussed already, Lisianthus requires a temperate and as well as subtropical conditions. Mid-elevation hills with altitude of 1,000 to 3,000 meters above mean sea level are the best zones for growing Lisianthus, which many of the hill stations, mild hills, we call them the mid-elevation hills in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Karnataka are growing Lisianthus now on a commercial scale. The ideal temperatures, as we see here, the day temperature is 24 to 27 degrees C. The range is, the ideal range is this, and the night temperature is 16 to 18 degrees C. It is slightly frost tolerant, but it cannot withstand very low temperatures. So it is slightly frost tolerant, which makes it suitable for growing in temperate regions also. And the light intensity requirement for Lisianthus is 35,000 to 40,000 lux. So this is the kind of light intensity prevailing during most of the the season in these mid-elevation hills. So they are very, very ideal for growing Lisianthus. And growing condition to produce export quality flowers, it is preferable to grow Lisianthus in a poly house rather than growing it in open conditions. Lisianthus can grow in open conditions also and produce flowers, but the standards will not meet the export requirements. So to get export quality flowers, we have to go in for polyhouse cultivation. That is what is being followed by the growers in the mid elevation hills of Tamil Nadu. And propagation, how Lisianthus is propagated is, it can be propagated by seeds and also through stem cuttings, and now tissue culture is also being used for propagating Lisianthus. One problem in Lisianthus propagation is the difficulty in germinating the seeds, and it also takes a longer time. So we have taken up studies through student research, and we have standardized the optimum requirements for seed, improving the seed germination. So soaking the seeds in water for a few hours can be followed, which helps in improving the germination, or a vernalization treatment. Treating the seeds at a low temperature of 3 degrees C for around 4 weeks can also help in improving the seed germination. And this is how we germinate the seeds. We pellet the seeds because the seeds are very, very small. So we go in for pelleting of the seeds, and then they are sown in pro trays so as to improve the germination and also improve the growth of the seed, so that each seedling can be given good care. So this is how we get the germination happens after 14 to 20 days if we follow these pre-treatments. And then they are transplanted in a polyhouse. The spacing normally given is 15 by 15 or 20 by 20 centimeters. We have observed that giving a spacing of 20 by 20 centimeters, as you see here, we have to give a netting support for Lisianthus, as we do for carnations and chrysanthemums, because only then we can get good quality and straight stems. So netting is very, very important for Lisianthus. And this is how we get the germinated seedling from a pro tray, which can be transplanted in about 2 months when it has about 4 to 6 true leaves. And growing medium with the quiet with sand and soil is very good for establishment of good root system and good growth of the crop. And as I told you, the spacing is either 15 by 15 or 20 by 20. As you see here, which can accommodate around 20,000 plants. So taking the net cropping area of the polyhouse as 80%, we can accommodate around 20,000 plants in an area of 1,000 square meters. So every meter square can accommodate around 25 plants actually, but taking the net cropping area, it works out to 20,000 plants per 1,000 square meters. That is the ideal plant population. So this is how we give the netting. Even before transplanting, we give the netting. And we have also standardized the pinching requirements. So this plant requires pinching, especially the spray cultivars require pinching. So a single pinching at 30 days after planting, after transplanting, has been found to be good for this particular variety, Mariachi Blue. And also giving GA3 at 150 ppm 30 days after the single pinch. So we do the first single pinching 30 days after transplanting, and 30 days after the pinching, application of GA3 at 150 ppm helps to produce a very good branching system for the plant, which produces the optimum number of flower buds, and also the stem length is very, very good with the GA3 treatment. That is what we have observed in our trials. So GA3 can be recommended for elongating the stem, and also at an earlier stage it helps in good stem development also. That has been reported and that has been established also through our research trials. And apart from that, so Lisianthus is very popular as a cut flower. Apart from that, there are a few varieties which are dwarf types, and some of the varieties can be made dwarf with a little reduced plant height, which are very, very suitable for pot culture, as we see here. So pot culture of Lisianthus is also picking up as a very big industry, because it is very, very ideal for indoor interior decoration. There are very ideal types. So we can also go in for treating many of the varieties with paclobutrazole, which helps in creating dwarfness and making the plant suitable for pot culture. And there are also some varieties which are exclusively suitable, ideal for pot culture. So the spotted Lisianthus is a big industry now, picking up very fast with a lot of potentials in the domestic as well as the global markets, as we see here. So this is all about how to grow the plant either for a cut flower. So we have the spray types, we have the standard types also. So we also have encountered some problems with the occurrence of pests and diseases in Lisianthus, as we see here. There are many pests in Lisianthus, but only two are very, very damaging: the whiteflies and the thrips. So they, as they do in other crops like roses, they cause the crinkling of the leaves, shriveling of the growing tips. So that is what we have observed inside the polyhouse also. And coming to diseases, there are two diseases which are a little damaging in Lisianthus, but which can be taken care of by making sure that the soil of the greenhouse is either fumigated or subjected to solarization before taking up the planting, so as to get rid of all the soil-borne pests and pathogens. So here we see botrytis blight and fusarium rot, which are a little damaging, but a lot of research is going on these two aspects, and I think we will be coming out with good recommendations to control this, though they are not very damaging at this point of time. And there are also a few physiological disorders like we observe in carnations. We have the tip burn, which occurs in Lisianthus also, which again, and another physiological disorder, which is broken stem. These are due to calcium deficiency, and a lot of research has also gone into this. And a recent report says a chelate made with calcium and an amino acid, that is calcium and lysine chelate, 1:1 ratio, is working out very well for taking care of this calcium deficiency, and hence to control this tip burn and broken stem symptoms. So that is one important report we have come across, which is also working out as per our observation. And freezing injury, as already discussed, the Lisianthus is moderately tolerant to freezing temperatures, because this is a common occurrence in the hilly regions where during winter, but it can tolerate low temperatures, but not very, very low temperatures. That is not below 13 degrees or in summer, and during winter when the temperature goes below 5 degrees, then it becomes affected due to the low temperatures. It leads to some water soaking and collapsing of leaves and florets also. So we have to make sure that the temperatures inside the polyhouse are maintained at the optimum levels. So coming to harvesting. So this is how we fix the harvesting index for Lisianthus stems. So when the basal two florets have opened and the others have developed, this is how we harvest the Lisianthus stems for long distance market. And for short distance market, when most of the florets are open, Lisianthus buds open even in the waste solution. After harvesting also, they open, the remaining buds open. So this is how we fix the harvest index when the lowermost two buds have opened, showing the color. If it is for a short distance market, more than two buds, maybe 3 or 4 buds should have opened, and the topmost ones should have developed well, but should not have shown the color. This is the harvest index for Lisianthus. We've also worked out the cost economics based on what research trials we have taken up at Ooty, and also in consultation with the farmers who are taking up commercial cultivation. We have worked out this basic cost economics. So as I told you, a polyhouse of 10,000 a polyhouse of 1,000 square meters can accommodate around 40,000 plants. because the spacing we give is 20 by 20 centimeters. So it can accommodate, the spacing can be 15 by 15 or 20 by 20. So in 1000 square meters area, we can accommodate around 40,000 plants. And there are also varieties which can be grown at a very closer spacing of 15 by 15, where the plant population is even higher. But an ideal spacing is 20 by 20 centimeters. So the cost of production for a polyhouse of 1000 square meters works out to around 10 lakhs, because the seeds and seedlings, the seedling cost is around 12 to 15 rupees when we get it from a private nursery, because the private nurseries are the ones who have good quality plants now. Tissue culture propagation is picking up in the Lisianthus now, but now what we get for commercial cultivation is seedlings, and each seedling costs around 12 to 15 rupees. So a major portion of the cost goes for seedlings. And the yield we get from this 40,000 plants, fixing an approximate 3 stems per flower, we get around 1,20,000 stems. So the gross income, fixing the flower price at rupees 20 per flower stem. This is an approximate average price. It also goes up to 30 rupees per flower stem during occasions like Valentine's Day, Christmas, and New Year. That is what we have observed in the market. So fixing an average price of rupees 20, so the price doesn't fall below 20. That is what we have observed, and we have also got information from the growers and from the markets. So fixing it at 20 rupees, the farmer can get 24 lakhs from one crop, which is the gross income. And taking the cost of cultivation, the net income would be around 14 lakhs with one crop. So if the farmer is able to take 2 crops in a year, because the varieties, most of the varieties, they have a duration of 5 to 6 months. If the polyhouse is well maintained, a grower can take 2 crops in a year. So the farmer can easily take an income, a net income of 28 lakh rupees from an area of 1000 square meters. This is the cost economics we have worked out for Lisianthus under the Nilgiris Ooty conditions. So that is all we have experienced regarding Lisianthus cultivation, and definitely this is going to be a very, very potential crop for flower growers, because it has a consistent demand both in the national as well as the global markets. Sir, we can move on to the next crop, sir.
Yeah, please go on.
Yes, yes. So that is all about Lisianthus. Now coming to the next blue flower, Limonium. So again, since this is a new crop, though it's been known for quite some time, just like Lisianthus and Gypsophila, many people still don't know about this crop, because the reason is it's not occupied a large area of commercial cultivation. So this is known by many names. There are many synonyms for this crop, Limonium. It's called Limonium, Status, Sea Lavender, Sea Foam. These are some of the common names by which Limonium is referred to. So botanically, it is Limonium species. There are many species, and a few of them have gained economic importance as either a cut flower, or as a garden plant, or as a filler crop for floral arrangements. It belongs to the family Plumbaginaceae. Again, a family in which we have another flower which is blue in color. We have the plumbago, which we commonly refer to as azure blue, which is a very popular flowering shrub that belongs to the same family. Plumbago zeylanica is a very important, a very popular flowering shrub for gardening, hedge making, flower shrubberies and all that. There are also many species of plumbago which have medicinal importance also. So this is a very important family again. And Limonium is a native to Europe, Mediterranean regions, and some of the species are native to Asia also. So Asia also is home to many of the species of Limonium. And it has a wide array of color in its flower, as we see here. white, yellow, lavender, pink, purple, orange. Though it is not true blue as we see in Lisianthus, there are shades of blue like the purple and purple color, which is very, very popular. The purple limonium is very, very popular with the florists. And another big advantage with limonium is that it is a crop which blooms throughout the year. It is not seasonal in its flowering habit. It is available. The blooms are available throughout the year, which is a very, very big advantage for the floriculture industry. And this is a crop with multi uses. It is good as a cut flower. It is very popular as a filler crop. So we know there are. I'll show you a few pictures maybe in the next slides, where a flower arrangement cannot be complete without a filler. So we can use very beautiful flowers like roses and anthuriums and orchids, but then there is going to be an empty space all around the arrangement. So that empty space can be filled and made complete only with fillers. So this status or limonium is a very, very popular filler, and it goes well. It is very, very compatible with any kind of flower in bouquets and arrangements. Apart from being used as a popular flower in arrangements and bouquets, it is also a very good material for gardening. It is very popular in gardening. It is used in, as we see here, it is used for decorating the borders, rock gardens also. It is a very, very hardy crop species, which is suitable for rock gardens also. And also it is suitable for pot plants. There are many species which can also be grown in pots. And another big advantage or uniqueness with the limonium is that it is a plant it is a flower which is very, very popular and very ideal for making dry flowers, because any flower which is not very succulent, which has very little moisture, or a flower like limonium in which the bracts are modified into colorful florets. No, we call them the flowers. The bracts are the flowers here. So they are not at all succulent, which means it is very easy to dry these materials. Hence, limonium is a very, very ideal material for making dry flowers. And why dry flowers? I'm talking here. Dry flowers constitute 70% of floriculture exports from India. So the floriculture basket of India, the export basket, 70% of the basket is made of dry flowers. So just imagine how important dry flower industry is. So these limoniums and gypsophilas are very ideal materials for dry flower making. And also they are, as I told you, they are very suitable for fillers in flower arrangements, and also suitable for indoor decorations. There is a consistent market for these flowers also, limoniums and gypsophilas, in the world market, though they are not grown on a large scale. And climatic requirements, just like Lisianthus. So these three crops are a little closely associated with respect to the wide array of many traits, like they have wide array of flowers. The flowers are, wide array of colors and wide array of flower forms, the presence of blue color in their flowers, and the temperature, the climatic requirements are also almost similar. Maybe that is why I was given these three crops, which are almost similar, and they have similar requirements with respect to the climatic conditions, the temperature, the soil, the altitude, everything. So limonium also is a crop which prefers the temperate and subtropic zones. And fortunately, this is a crop which does not require a protected structure like Lisianthus. This can be grown outside also. It is a very hardy crop, as I already told you. It does well even on rockeries. It is almost like a lithophyte which can come up on rocks. So this crop is suitable for growing under open conditions. And it requires a day temperature of, as we see here, a range of 22 to 27 and a night temperature of 12 to 60. And any kind of garden soil is suitable. The only thing is it should have a pH of 6.2 to 6.5. So we know most of the hilly zones have acidic soils. So anything between 6 and 7, less than 6.5 would do good. In pH of 7, the quality of the growth, the quality would come down a little. So the best pH for Limonium is 6.2 to 6.5. So being a very hardy crop, as we already discussed, it is fairly drought tolerant, also drought resistant, in fact. So it can be grown in borders and rockeries also. It is not necessary that we need to have an exclusive area to grow these Limonium plants, because they can come up on any kind of soil, even on rocks. So we can have them along the borders and on rocky patches also, which means we can use the waste or the problem patches of soil in a garden can also be used for growing these crops, but they give us so much of benefits. And another advantage India has with respect to cultivation of these crops is good light intensity year round, which is not available in the Western countries. So that is why we are able to produce, as already discussed, we are able to produce any kind of or a diverse kind of flower crops in any area, or we can get a diverse kind of flower crops and on foliages from varied diverse regions of India, so that we can keep the floriculture export live throughout the year, unlike the other countries where it is not possible. So this is another big advantage, which makes cultivation of crops like Limonium very, very easy for our conditions. And it is very much suitable for open field cultivation. It does not require a protected structure. As we see here, there are vast stretches of Limonium grown in some pockets open. Some of the species are even found wild along the Western Ghats, and some of them have been domesticated and are being cultivated as cut flower, filler, and also used for so many of these forest regions. The plants which are found wild there, the Limonium plants which are found wild there, they are collected and used as raw materials for dry flower making also. So this is one big advantage with this crop. And there are many species, as we see here. Yes, there are many species. Sinuatum and latifolium are very, very popular as cut flower as well as filler material, and there are many varieties. And also in Limonium, we have annual types and perennial types. So there are varieties which belong to the annual category, and there are many varieties which come under the perennial category also. So the perennials are more suitable for gardening, and the annuals are more suitable for use as cut flower or filler. There are a wide array of varieties in the market, available in the market. Coming to propagation of Limonium, seeds and tissue culture. So tissue culture is the method which is now being adopted widely for producing true to type plants for large scale commercial cultivation of Limonium. So tissue culture protocols have been successfully standardized and they are being used commercially. Yes, that is about Limonium. I think we are not going much into Limonium because we have not taken up a lot of research on Limoniums. We have only studied the plant growth habits, the types of species available, the indigenous species found distributed in the Western Ghats. So these are some of the information we have regarding Limonium, but it is a very, very potential crop. Of course, tissue culture micropropagation protocols have been standardized. So we have, I think, a long way to go in promoting this as an important florist crop. And coming to Gypsophila, the third crop, this is again another interesting crop. We flower crop. We call it as baby's breath, as you see here, because it's very, very soft and fragile. So we call it as baby's breath. Botanically, it is called Gypsophila paniculata. It belongs to the family Caryophyllaceae, to which carnation belongs. So the plants and the leaves almost resemble carnation. This is also another hardy crop like Limonium, which can be grown outside. If the climatic conditions are a little harsher, like tropics, mild tropics, we can grow them under protected structures like a poly house or a shade net house. Otherwise, Gypsophila is also a crop like Limonium, which is tolerant to many of the harsh conditions in the environment. So it is suitable for growing under open conditions. And another big advantage, just like Limonium, is it is a It is a flower crop which has the potential to produce flowers, to bloom throughout the year. So that is another big advantage with this crop. It is not seasonal in its flowering habit. And in spite of all these things, it is not very popular. It has not occupied a very large area in commercial cultivation, just like Limonium. But yet, Gypsophila is also a very important and highly valued flower and filler material in the global floriculture trade because of all its unique characteristics. It's easy to grow and very popular filler material. And also, just like Limonium, this is also a material which is very suitable for making dry flowers. It is very suitable for making dry flowers. I'll show you some of the photographs. So it can come up in subtropical climatic conditions. I'm not going into the details of these cultivation because TNAU has not taken up much research on Gypsophila and Limonium, but it is a very important crop. We have taken up data with respect to the indigenous species, their growth habits, their tolerance levels to drought, their suitability for growing under open conditions, and all that. So we have observed that there are two species among the numerous species available. Elegans and paniculata are very popular, very hardy species. One of them, elegans, is an annual, and paniculata is a perennial. They are also suitable for cut flower, as pot plant, for gardening, for dry flower making, multi-uses, just like Limonium. And this is also a crop with wide diversity. Gypsophila also has wide diversity with respect to color, the flower form. So paniculata, repens, elegans, erythioides, all these have different kinds of growth habit. So this is erythioides is one species which is very ideal for pot culture, whereas the others are more suitable for gardening and for use as dry flowers, for use as filler materials. So depending on the growth habit of the species, they have been categorized for their uses also. So this is also, these are four more species where we have the purple shade, Pacifica and Perfoliata are two species which have purple shades, lilac shades in them. Yes, this paniculata is very ideal for pot culture also, interior decoration also. So there are many varieties. I've listed the ones which are popular with the growers. Again, there are very few growers who are growing Gypsophila in the open conditions in small pockets. So these are the varieties which are popular with them. So this one variety, Million Stars, because it looks like that, it is very popular with the florists for making bouquets. And one unique feature with Gypsophila, because it is just like carnation belonging to the Caryophyllaceae family, Gypsophila is also a long day plant. But again, like carnation, this is not an obligatory long day plant. It is just a facultative long day plant, which means it is not very specific in its light requirements. But the light photo period of around 16 hours is very good for its flowering. So this is a long day plant, but it is not very strict or very specific in its photoperiodic requirements. So it is able to do well under open conditions, and it is able to flower throughout the year also. And propagation, we have many methods of propagation for Gypsophila also, but again, tissue culture we know has become a very potential propagation tool for most of the ornamentals. So that is the case with the Gypsophila also. Protocols have been, micropropagation protocols have been standardized, and tissue culture plants are being widely used for commercial cultivation. So this is a protocol which has been standardized. A lot of research has gone into this also. And one thing I would like to mention here, I think we are just moving towards the end of the presentation. So value addition with these three flowers, especially with Limonium and Gypsophila, is a very potential area which has not been tapped to its fullest potential. So as I've already indicated, 70% of India's floriculture exports are made of dry flowers, and India enjoys monopoly in the dry flower industry for the past 3-4 decades. So we have a huge potential, especially with flowers like Gypsophila and Limonium, which have a very good demand in the international trade also. So dry flower making with the Limonium is a very potential venture. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Okay, sir. So I just wanted to show you how artificial coloring or tinting of flowers is a very popular, venture among, the people who are in the floristry business. So this is tinted tuberose flowers, which is very, very popular. And now we know people are very, very conscious about using natural organic products. So all these have been colored with food colors, natural colors which have been extracted from plant materials. So this is widely used for making floral ornaments. So these garlands have been made with tinted tuberose flowers, which we show here. Research was also taken up in this regard. We came to know that using food colorants is safe as well as cost effective also. So that is also being done in flowers like Gypsophila and Limonium. So this is also catching up as a very profitable industry. And in wedding occasions, all these flowers are used for decorating the girl, no? The bride, to match her wedding dress. So all these orchids, tuberose flowers, gypsophilas, all of these florets are colored and they are used for decorating hair adornment, and floral ornaments are being made with this, apart from using them for making bouquets, floral decorations and all that. Yes, I think I'm closing with that, sir. So there is a long way to go. There is huge potential, and I think we have to use the potential our country has with respect to the floriculture sector, because where flowers bloom, so does hope. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ganga.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for a wonderful presentation covering the intricate details of all the three important emerging flowers.
Thank you, sir.
The presentation has covered a wide array of the details, including the uses, the cultivation aspects, the varietal wealth that the crops have, and their usage in different connotations. So thank you very much for the excellent presentation. I request Dr. Brahma Singh sir for his remarks.
Oh, I thought you will moderate the talk. Anyway, I'm impressed with the presentation. And I'm sure all those who are attending, they must have been impressed by the knowledge she had got and the way she has presented the talk on all the new flowers and their importance. The one thing which I request her and request the audience, you know, the what she has advocated or what she has professed. Holy festival is coming and we use lot many colors. My humble request to the people that they should use the flower color, and same request to Dr. Ganga and her colleagues and those who are in the business or in the profession may provide enough coloring material so that people can enjoy the Holi without harming the health. So I think I could find that is a immediate use of flower color, what Dr. Ganga said, value addition. The other things, anthocyanin pigment and other things, the food colorant, they are there. But in addition to that, what we in different festival we use it is a good one. And as he has rightly pointed out that the tissue culture is the right way of propagating the most of the floriculture crops. I agree with her, and people should follow that. And tissue culture used to be high tech and expensive sort of a thing. The technology is still there, but the expensive factor has gone. It's not that expensive. You can practice in every nursery. In every plant nursery, one can practice it. I don't go to the home scale, but at nursery scale is not difficult and it is affordable. And I am sure that National Horticulture Board and that those NABARD and other agencies, those who claim that they support the agriculture, they definitely support the floriculture industry also. Besides the commerce industry, where the export people, apida people, and all those are there. So one should popularize the new type of flowers also, because there is a money in it, there is a business in it, and our young or the youth, they should take up new and new thing so that they can be satisfied with their profession and should not depend on others finding the jobs, etc. This and that. They should be the rightly said the buzzword these days, job providers. They should be the job providers. Lot of job opportunities in floriculture if it is taken in the right perspective and the market is managed. Market is managed, as Madam in the beginning said. In COVID, they suffered. But at that time also, if the suitable measures would have been taken, it would have been converted to different things. If the dried flower during the the dehydration is practiced at the farmer's field during the situations like COVID, you can have a lot of money. You can just have a business on that. Likewise, number of things are there. So I thank her profusely, immensely, and quite knowledgeable one. And those who are listening, kindly consider growing these crops also for commercial purposes. And in between, she mentioned the creation of color, which is not there in important crops through biotechnology. I think floriculture is the easiest, and nobody objects to that. The genetic modification, etc. In food crops, there is a lot of hue and cry, but I think in flower crop, people are not that touchy about it. So a lot of scope for biotechnologists to create different color, different even the new flowers you can create by having a lot many manipulations which are possible. Manipulations, you are not bringing something from anywhere, you are taking from the biodiversity only which the nature has created. Nature's rearrangement we are doing in that biotechnology. We are not creating. We are not a creator. We can't create also. So I think there is a lot of scope of biotechnology. I may be wrong, but this is my personal view. There is a lot of scope in floriculture in this. So in these words, I thank Dr. Prasad. Before thanking Mr. Shiv, whether there are some questions?
Yes, there is.
And before I take up the
Yes, sir.
questions,
One or two
very
questions are
senior
there.
people, just a minute. Before we take up the questions, Dr. Ganga, you should be happy. Very senior people are attending your lecture. I could
Yes, sir.
see
I'm very fortunate. Yes.
Dr. Khare sir. I have got all regards for him. He is attending your uh, talk,
Okay.
though he is interested only the medicinal value of the plants
Okay.
from aromatic point of view and from that point of view. But he is attending that, looking for whether something is there in that. So don't think that the new flowers have no interest among the public or the flower lovers. It is there.
Yes.
We can take up the questions, Shivji.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shiv, if some question is there, what is that,
Yes.
ma'am? I'm living in temperate area around
1900.
1900 above mean sea level, but here snowfall occurs. So, what madam can do? What is the question?
Yes,
Is
I
there any
think
suitable cultivation in my area? Oh, he is asking whether these flowers can do well there or some other flowers.
in fact, my view here is, sir, all these three flowers are more suitable for temperate regions than for the tropics. So, than for the subtropics. The only thing is, Gypsophila and Limonium are even tolerant to drought as well as frost. So, whereas Lisianthus is a little sensitive. So, what you can do is you can take up cultivation of all the three, taking care that they don't the cultivation season does not coincide with the harsh winter.
And
Definitely, you can.
he should be in touch with you.
Yes, yes, sure. We'll be able
Okay.
to help. We'll
Very
be
good,
able to
very
help.
good, very good, man. Somebody is asking whether it is possible to grow these flowers in North India. So I think,
Definitely,
though you
I
have
think
already
many
answered,
many
but you can
pockets.
answer.
Yes, yes, sir. Many pockets in North India, in fact, are more suitable for cultivating these crops because they have the temperate and subtropical conditions. They are not
आप
suitable only for the harsh tropics. So
that's right,
those
that's right.
areas which have these kind of conditions can support cultivation of all the three crops. Definitely, we can help you technically. Yes, sir.
इन हिमालयन बेल्ट जितनी भी आपकी स्टेट है उसमें आपकी इनकी खेती हो सकती है मैडम ने यही बताया है नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन
We don't have, sir, other questions. We have
ओके
all appreciation.
देन डॉक्टर प्रसाद यू वांट टू से समथिंग
Yeah,
यस
yeah. Even Dr.
ओके
Peter is witnessing this presentation.
हेलो
So the the importance of the topic is evident from the participation of Dr. K.V. Peter, one of the senior most horticulturists in the country.
गुड आई एम हैप्पी टू
So
लर्न
thank you
दैट
so much, Ganga, for, so he
So
says
greetings.
excellent topic and outstanding
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So my respects to all the
compliments from
seniors and mentors. Thank you, sir.
सो
yeah, it's a
ऑन
wonderful presentation. Taking note of the the two crops which are not very common in the normal cultivation areas. So far,
Yes,
the country is dominated by rose, then some pockets of zircara, some pockets of carnations, and very few pockets of orchids and other plants. So with
yes,
these
sir.
crops emerging, I'm sure that the new age entrepreneurs will have options for diversification in agriculture. So this
Yes,
information that you have compiled, created, and presented today would be of great significance to all the students, the faculty who are witnessing this, and also the entrepreneurs who are likely to venture into or diversify into the crops like this.
yes.
So thank you very much. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Ganga on behalf of PSS BS Region. And I also thank our Honorable Chairman of Singh Horticulture Foundation, Padma Shri Awardee Dr. Singh. And thank you, Mr. Shiv, for anchoring the. Though we have some small technical details, you have managed very well so that they continue to well. Thank you so much. Thanks each one of you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you
Thank,
everybody. Thank you
thank you,
everybody.
sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks
Thank you.
all viewers. And Dr. Ganga, a lot of appreciation for you
Thank
that you
Thank you,
have given a
sir.
good material on the screen and all that. And those who are interested can have the text also can request. She won't mind to part with. Okay, with these words,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you, thank you, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.